All right, let's go.
Oh, got a hat on? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Good Sound Club podcast, episode 12. As always, I'm your host, Tom, and with me is.
Cena. Hey guys.
Hey, what's up, Cena? It's been a while. A little bit.
It's
Some
been
time. A few
a
weeks,
hot
few
minute,
days. A hot minute. A
as the
little
kids
bit.
say.
Yeah, so here we are due to popular demand.
Unpopular demand.
How have you been, Cena? What's up? What's the delay like? Why is there a delay?
Why is there a delay? It's a great question. Several reasons, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
How long has it been? Do you know? It's
Nah, I
been
haven't been keeping track, but I'm sure
okay.
someone does.
Um,
I've been too satisfied to count the days.
right. That's one of the reasons we've both been too satisfied. I think. You were like the yang to my yin, and now I'm also a yin. So it's like
There
there's
you
nothing to
go.
do anymore.
Now I
There's
want to
nothing
buy
to do.
something, which is ironic.
There's nothing. Yeah, you want to buy something I don't. The thought of buying stuff makes me sick right now, which we'll get into. But yeah, I've been just super busy with work. I got um, another promotion, I
Oh,
guess you
okay.
could call it, and I work like 10, 12 hour days now. Work on weekends. Today's a Saturday. We're recording on a Saturday. I was working today too. Um, but it's okay. I love my job, so I'm not complaining. It's just there's not much time to think about extracurricular activities, I guess.
It's hard to make more time in a day.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's quite easy. You just wake up earlier. I have a serious
That's good.
problem. I don't know what the hell is wrong with me. I have like sleep-in disorder. My job allows me to wake up at like 10 and 11, and I do most days. I just sleep until 10 and 11. I just roll out of bed. That's the problem with remote work. It's a plague.
You just need more windows for the
Yes.
sun.
Yeah.
It's been winter, hasn't it? Or
Yeah.
again,
We
I guess it's starting again.
we had our first snow a couple of days ago in Toronto. Um, And everyone I know has seasonal affective disorder. Everyone's just depressed, including myself. It's okay.
Yeah, no snow here. Sorry, sunny California.
When do you guys get snow, if
Uh,
ever?
I the 30 years I've lived here, I've never had snow in my city.
That's crazy. Does it get cold though? Like, what's the
It
coldest it
gets it gets
gets?
California cold. It gets California cold, so you put on shorts and a sweater, and then go. Hope it doesn't hit anything lower than 55 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wow,
Sheesh. If
that's
it does,
crazy.
then you just maybe you wear pants the next day, but most people don't.
Yeah, short weather is over, but that's good. And I have a lot of pants. So anyway, we're back.
Yeah. So what have you bought that made you not want to buy anything anymore?
I don't know if it's what I bought. It's probably more like what I sold.
Hmm.
Um, So I don't even know where we left off. Let me start, I guess, with the headphone stuff because it's simpler there. So,
All right.
um, I was on Grado Quest. I had my love for Grados or Grados, whatever
It
you
was
want to call
quite
them.
epic.
Yeah, the quest is over. I won basically. I bought like I guess six Grados. I was gonna buy two more, but it happened that the sixth one was like the best headphone I've ever heard, and so that's it. I'm done with headphones. It happened to be a SR325, specifically from 2006. I believe that's when it's from. So before they moved on to the I, which I guess stands for improved. Um, yeah, it's kind of weird because um, when I started out with headphones, if you told me that these would be the ones I end with, I'd say, you're like, what are you talking about? You're crazy. Just from the descriptions people write about this headphone online. But
Yeah.
now that I'm here, it makes so much sense. And I feel like I've come full circle. So anyway, I'm very happy with those. I just listen to those out of anything really, and they sound very good.
Yeah. The efficiency.
Yeah, so that was Grado Quest, pretty much done. Um, I can talk a bit more about those, I guess, but I don't know if people are that interested in
I just
reading
want to
about
say,
Grados.
I told Rob Grado your story of your Grado quest, and he
Oh
said
yeah,
you're spending too much money.
yeah, he was right. He was yeah. So
Wise man.
I spent $2,000 on HP 1000s,
Mhm.
And I think by coincidence, I bought the worst sounding variant of them. There's like three variants, and I probably got the worst one, but I don't think it would have made a difference anyway. I sold those, and the much cheaper 325s are much, much better, in my opinion. So those are the ones I kept. Rob Grado would have probably liked me to buy the new 325X, but I don't like those, don't recommend those. I only recommend the old ones.
Yeah, I heard
So
those were to my liking, but we like a
they're,
little
I
bit
mean,
different.
they're
I like a little bit
okay.
different.
Yeah, they're
I
not.
like the old cable.
I think they're not special like the old ones are. I think
Mm,
they just kind of sound like headphones. I think the old ones kind of sound like time machines, in a way, um, that I really like. So anyway, that was with headphones. With speaker stuff, you know, basically, I had plans to get. Well, the speaker project was a success, more or less. I kind of kept tweaking around with them, but I was happy with them, so I wasn't buying any more things for the actual speakers. For sources, there was a series of unfortunate purchases. I think I mentioned in the last episode that I was
oh,
down bad, or I don't remember what terminology or what turn
you
of
bought
phrase I used.
a Japanese crafted deck
I
and
bought a Japanese.
CD player.
Well, yeah, I bought a Japanese CD player. I bought a refurbished vintage CD player that cost even more than that, and I also bought a DAC from Serbia.
Mm,
I think he's Serbian, of all places. All three were terrible, like really, really bad.
not for you.
So not for me, I should say. Yeah, bad in my opinion. So that was
You
basically
I wanted to ask, can you like, kind of give a little bit of like what is the bad for you instead of just saying like it's bad. Like I understand what you mean by bad because I
sure.
know your flavor, but for
Yeah,
the
yeah.
audience, you don't
Well,
have to expand on
yeah,
each one, but like what is it?
hundred
What is the
percent.
bad?
So we talked about this at the end of the last episode, but basically the bad is like it homogenizes music to make different recordings sound similar. And when I hear that or when I detect that, like I just want to chuck it out the window right away. So that's what I
Mm,
mean by bad. That's the threshold between bad and good. And it's not something that I like hear a certain sound and I go like, oh yeah, that's it. Sometimes it is, but most of the time it's just a feeling in my gut from like literally as soon as you click play on something, and it's even the intro of a track, and it could be silence, it doesn't matter. I feel it right away that something's wrong. It's like an ominous feeling, and I want to shut it off, and I know that I've made a mistake. So with all three purchases, that turned out to be the case, and they were all very expensive purchases because I bought them all new. Had to pay shipping. Shipping to Canada is crazy right now. Had to pay import duties. On one of them, I actually got charged double the import duties that I should have. So I basically wasted like $10,000 in a month. Um, and then I felt sick to my stomach, and I made a vow, and I told Tom this. I vowed to stop wasting money. That was the last dumb decision I ever make in my life, and so far, it's been going pretty good. That was
nice.
what was that, September, August maybe. So now we're in November, and I haven't bought anything else.
Feels good. Feels good.
Well, it would feel better to have the $10,000 back, but
Yeah,
that's
you'll find something else.
yeah, that's okay. I make good money, so I can't complain too much. But that was it. That was like why I'm here now, and I've learned to just I've learned there's no material answer to the spiritual problem that I have, and I need to just stop buying stuff.
Yeah, that reminds me of a thread post I saw someone write that how they are stuck in mid-fi hell and they don't want to be there. Do you think
Right.
it's the equipment or do you think it's us ourselves? Like, is it our own crafted problems that we create to justify our next purchase?
That's a great question. It is, and that internal problem, wherever it stems from some sort of dissatisfaction, which in the modern world, there's so many sources of it. But the problem with that is, if it was just a struggle with ourselves, we could win, but it gets amplified
Hmm.
by external sources, peer pressure, marketing, etc.
Communities,
Right?
maybe.
Communities that you're part of, maybe even communities that you don't like. And right before we got on this call, I was just browsing YouTube, and there was a TEDx talk called "Stop Buying Stuff." It was 10 minutes. I thought, okay, I'm
I
waiting
almost watched
for.
that.
Yeah, you watched that, or you
I
almost watched
almost
it?
did. Our algorithm is very similar sometimes.
Yeah. Well, you didn't miss anything because I'm about to summarize it for you in 30 seconds. So, um, it was 10 minutes. I thought, okay, I'll watch it. Well, I know that TEDx talks are stupid. Like they just talk for 10 to 15 minutes, but they could have said something in 30 seconds. So I'm about to break it down for you. The guy basically said, yeah, I spent a year. I didn't buy anything. It was really easy. My strategy was that anytime there's like an offer, so that could be like a new product comes out or someone buys something, you want to buy it, consider all those things as offers. Instead of looking at those things as invitations, look at them as personal attacks and get
Yeah.
offended. And I've realized that's actually something I started doing after I wasted this $10,000. Is these companies, all companies, almost all these manufacturers, whether they're in audio or another industry, they think you're fucking stupid. Like they will just release the same thing again, change a chip, change the chassis, paint it black, add a two to the end of the model name, and they think you're dumb enough to buy it again or want to buy it again. So when you see that, you have to just like think like these people think I'm stupid. Like they want my money. They're going to take my money. And if you take it as an attack, then it becomes really easy to say no. It's like why would I give you my money for this thing that I don't need? Um, so I realized that I started doing that without even kind of consciously realizing it. It just kind of just sort of happened naturally as a reaction to that experience that I had. That was the whole point of the talk. You just said that, yeah, I took offense to all
Yeah.
of these.
Be offended instead of being anxious or having FOMO.
Right,
Yeah.
and you
It's
can
good
you can go a
advice.
long time without buying anything. Apparently, if you do that.
Yeah, I've gone a long time. Part of it is like the self like fulfilling prophecy of kind of the hobby. It's like, oh man, I gotta upgrade. Like I'm not cool enough. Like do people respect me?
Yeah,
Like I forget what episode, but if your deck's not big enough, I mean, who cares what your opinion is? Like,
but that's the thing. Like one day, inevitably, you're gonna wake up and you're gonna realize the DAC will never be big enough, and it
no,
can't be
no.
by
There's
definition.
always a bigger fish. This could be a new model. This gonna be a more expensive one. Once that's cooler for some reason. I don't know. This one has three ice core S ports. Because you're gonna
Yeah,
need three of those.
it's the anniversary edition, dude.
Finally, yeah, yeah. 12-year
Finally,
anniversary.
finally, we've been waiting so long.
Yeah, I've been waiting a half a year for the anniversary edition. I'm glad it's here.
The
But
embarrassing part for me, I guess, is I should have realized this all like 3 years ago. Because 3 years
mm,
ago, with the headphone stuff, I was already like on top of the iceberg. Like
yeah,
I had the $3,000 tube amp, I had the $3,000 DAC,
yeah,
I had like
yeah. The
a
legendary
fucking
headphones to go with the.
I had the legendary headphones. I had the Rune Ready endpoint to feed
Mm-hmm.
it, and I did not listen to music like at all. And the question I had at that point was, okay, what's the next tier? Like, what's above $3,000? Well, it turns out there's not a lot. You have to go to $7,000. And at that point, I was still like, I just graduated university. I didn't have $7,000, so I had to cope, and I had to sell it all, and I went down to nothing. And I could have stayed there, but I guess what happened is at that point I left the headphone stuff and I got into the speaker stuff, and the cycle just started all over again. Because when you start out initially, you get excited, you learn about all the different products, all the different niches of products. You start with the cheap stuff, you're really satisfied, and then the cycle starts all over. But now I've kind of graduated from both camps, I'd like to think, and I'm back to where I started with just like junk. Like I'll give an update later on what my system is and what it looks like. It's like junk. If you look at it, it looks like a pile of junk, but it sounds very good. So
Yeah, but people always want to know what's the next best thing that you got that you're not telling us about.
yeah, actually, it's kind of weird. Like I get private messages and stuff of people who've seen that I have owned all this gear because I just mention it here and there. I don't even review stuff anymore because I'm not
Mm-hmm.
interested. And they're like, "Yeah, I've seen like you own product X and product Y. I'm really considering these things. Do you have any feedback? Like, what'd you move on to? Like, I bet you spent like $5,000 to get an upgrade to that." And then I have to tell them, you know, I listened to the RC, not the RC, the 3.5 mil output of a 2008 Apple computer, and I like it a lot. And for an amplifier, I have $100 Chinese tube amp that has Bluetooth and a remote,
Yeah.
and the speakers are literally 1960s like radio drivers in a big box. That's it. Oh, what about the cables? I unwound a pre-war transformer and I snipped off the wire and I soldered it to some RCA connectors, and those are my cables. So they don't reply anymore after that because they think I'm insane.
It's against the narrative.
It's against the
It's too
narrative.
controversial. It's like, what?
It's
How
it's
could you
also
not
not
consume more expensive product every time?
it's not what they want to hear. You know, they want me to break it down for them. Oh, you know, like product X was more musical, product Y was more analytical. I had a real internal debate, and then I ended up upgrading to product Z. Product Z was musical and analytical at the same time. So that's what they want to hear. But I don't say that because that's not what happened.
Yeah, for me, I always just try to think like, am I actually enjoying it, or am I making excuses? And the truth is, I'm enjoying it. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Most of my listening, it's on my cheap Emotiva speakers or my comically small Logitech desktop speakers that are, I mean, they're powered speakers, but they're full range with the sub. I listen to those. I know what their flaws are, but I'm so past listening for the flaws. I'm like listening. It's like, oh wow, did I like this song? Is this
Hmm.
music captivating to me? Like, what about the music do I enjoy? It's like I don't need more depth, because the depth is not it's a fabrication of the equipment. It's not what the artist intends. I mean, sometimes they intend it. Don't get me wrong, but
Sure.
it's
Sometimes
not. It's
they
yeah,
twisted the reverb knob and added a little bit more depth. But who cares? Does that get the musical message across? I don't think it does.
yeah, yeah. I've I've changed my priorities in audio after reading this book, because everything sounds unique, and it's his own sound. And when an artist
Right.
records any music, they're trying to create their own sound. And
Right.
oftentimes, you always try to listen to your equipment sound, but not the equipment of the artist. And we always want to complain about every single like little tiny thing that this not it's not relevant to the content.
Right.
So I've enjoyed uh my vintage game consoles for their unique sound. Like they do their own thing. And I recently got a Game Boy Color. Thank you, by the way.
No
And
problem.
I've been listening to that, and it's so funny. You play anything, and you go, "Wow, there's no drive. There's no drive in this." But but if you really focus, you can hear so much of what the intention is, and the intention is to overcome the flaws to sound amazing. And of
Right.
course, I plugged in headphones to it, and it sounds so awful. Like everything you would hate, it's so bad. You could practically hear the stepping of the decoder chip. It's not even a decoder chip. It's literally
Mhm.
just like actually pulse width modulation coming
Sure.
out. It's 14, 12 bit, whatever it is. It sounds so bad on the
Really bad
headphones.
cyanide on that Game Boy.
Yeah, yeah, it's really bad. I only hear the noise floor, especially on some headphones. It's like, wow, that's no, you can't do that.
You were mentioning a book,
Yeah, yeah. Man, what is this book called? I just do
something
little
something how to listen or something.
yeah, a little editing here. Purchase history. I gotta sign in, of course. And the book I got was called The Listening Book: Discovering Your Own Music by W.A. Matthew, spelled Mathieu. And that book essentially just had me listen to more of what's going on, instead of like trying to shun all these noises away, like appreciating them. And I swear, like there's a few they're not chapters, but
Give us some anecdotes
anecdotes.
from the book.
One of them was to sit in a room and try to listen as far away as possible.
Mm,
Like when you really sit and you try to listen for as far away as possible, it really helps you understand the true depth of the world and this and of sound. Like what does 20 feet sound like in a recording? Like who cares? Like it's not too relevant. But what does 20 feet sound like in your own home? Right? Like what does 200 yards sound like? You can hear like an ambulance, a truck, cars, dogs. Like in my neighborhood, I know that you can hear dogs talking to each other over like hundreds of yards. You'll hear like 8 dogs and they're all communicating, but it's just a language we don't listen to. I'm not saying I know what dogs are saying. I'm just saying I
mm,
hear them talking to each other. There's a call and response.
sure.
And just trying to identify what the distance is between sounds is really important in this listening book.
So the dogs are on a different channel of communication. Could you say that?
I mean, sure, they're on different channel of communication. I don't
Because
really try to say. I mean, I'm just saying this is a good book. It gives a lot of insights, and it really helps you reflect on your listening ability. And I guess that will also train you to become a better listener. I'm not saying I'm a trained listener by any means. I'm sure some people will say that, but this book's cheap. Go on eBay. The listening book, it's like $4.
well, I'm trying to relate it back to audio, like the
Uh,
anecdote with the dogs, because I think that there's something there. So, two people can listen to the same system and come away with different
mm,
impressions, right? Like
yeah, we
when
talk
I
about that a
have
lot.
yeah, when I have people over, some rare instances to listen to the junkyard system. Um, I don't know if they're just flattering me or they really think it sounds good, or maybe it because to me, whenever someone else listens to the system, it sounds bad. And I don't know if there's like some metaphysical phenomenon there where it's like psychological or something, but it always sounds bad when someone else is there. But as soon as they leave and I'm listening to it by myself, I'm like, oh, yeah, sounds really good. So I'm just wondering if there's like different things that people are attuned to when they're evaluating any piece of gear. And when you get into this rabbit hole of wanting to upgrade, it's because you're attuned to the wrong things. You're really looking for flaws, as
Yeah,
opposed to
yeah.
the connection.
The flaws really get us. I mean, I had somebody email me the other day of this paper they wrote about some product, and they were very proud to declare all the flaws. It's like, ah, yes,
Hmm.
it's like a Where's Waldo's book. It's like, ah, yes, you cannot tell me I am wrong because I have named everything and I know where all the Waldos are. But I mean, for me, it's like I don't care where Waldo is. Like, I want to see
Right.
the other things. Like when
Right.
you look at a Where's Waldo book, it's not just, oh, I found him. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, look at this little thing here tucked away in the corner that you might have missed because you were just so busy looking for Waldo. It's like, I
Wow.
think that's the whole point of the Where's Waldo book. It's not to actually find him. It's to
Did
like
you did you
find
rehearse
enjoyment.
this analogy? That's an amazing analogy.
No, no, it just we're flowing. It's just
Yeah.
what happened. It's like,
Where's
really,
Waldo?
that's what it is. That's really what it is. It's like you're so distracted about
Right.
what do you think is important that
And
you
and
f- you
and,
fail to
and
see it.
going back to what you just said like a couple minutes ago about every component, everything has its own sound.
Yeah,
Everything has its own Waldo. So if you just keep buying stuff looking for Waldo, like okay, the
yeah.
product A has Waldo, product B has Waldo. Like who gives a shit? Are you trying to
Everything is
find the?
flawed. Everything's flawed.
I guess people are trying to find the unicorn Waldo, and
Hmm.
maybe it's possible, but it's probably going to cost you like a ton of money.
Oh,
And in the end,
yeah.
it's still going to be a Waldo, even if it is a unicorn.
I always like to think like if you have doubts of any equipment you have, I mean, just stop. Just either quit the hobby. I'm not saying that in a rude way, but it's like honestly, you'll save yourself so much trouble. I think the only people that are more satisfied than people that are dissatisfied with everything they buy are people who tinker with things they own. Because like,
Right.
does it sound better? It doesn't matter. They want it to sound different, and they understand that. They know their flaws, and they're just trying to be like, okay, let's see how much I can tailor everything to myself because they're not trying to impress anyone about anything. They're trying to satisfy themselves only, and I think that's a much healthier place to be.
Yeah. And I mean, I do see some people who have like really expensive setups, large investments, who are satisfied and they
Yeah.
don't move much. But To be perfectly honest, I think in the majority of cases, those people could just as easily been satisfied with a much cheaper gear too. They just happen to be easy to please, you know.
I mean, they like what they like, and whatever the price is, and if it's worth it to them, I mean, that's the value.
Sure,
Man, I think the true value is not wanting to buy something else.
sure. Yeah, that's a very good way to put it.
Yeah, I've been satisfied for quite a while, but there's something new I want.
What
I
is
don't know if
it?
it is the Yima T9 Pro.
Aima?
Yima, yeah, the
Okay.
T9 Pro.
I have the Aima T9. That's my $100 Chinese amp with tubes and Bluetooth and a remote.
Yeah, I mean it's about 50% more expensive. Does that make it worth it? I don't know, but it doesn't click.
It doesn't click. That's they fixed the clicking.
Yep,
It looks like a very good product.
it looks cool. I mean, if it has a remote, I'm buying it. So yeah, sadly, it's still no speakers for me. Waiting for my guy to build them, but he's never gonna build them. I know it.
What's plan B?
Plan B? There's no plan B. Just don't buy anything.
So you're never gonna have speakers to use with the Aima T9 Pro?
Yeah, I have my desktop, but it doesn't matter. It's for some people like, oh man, I'm mad at this guy, but the truth is, I'm happy. I don't gotta spend money. What? I put my decision making into someone else's hands that I know will make the right decision for me. So instead of being dissatisfied or angry, I just keep my money.
Okay. What do you do with the money that you keep?
I don't know. Spend it on other hobbies.
It's interesting you say that because actually going back to that TEDx talk, so that was rule number one was to take the offers as insults, but the rule number two was to spend the money on services instead of goods. I'm not sure if you have,
Services instead of goods.
yeah, I'm not sure if you have thoughts on that.
Why would I do that? It'll disappear.
Well, well, but you get the experience, I
Oh,
guess.
okay, yeah. Like I've gone to the zoo instead of buying a deck. I'm like, should I go to the zoo or should I buy a deck? It's like, if I
What's your
sell the deck, it's
favorite?
bad value.
What's your favorite animal at the zoo?
Not the pandas.
Mm. You have pandas at your zoo?
Yeah, I have a very famous zoo, the San Diego Zoo and the World Animal Park. They're probably some of the biggest and best zoos in the entire world.
Nice.
Uh, what's my favorite animal? I don't know. Probably the human being. I go to the food court and I get a cold beer and I just walk around and I think the polar bear. The polar bear is so brutal.
Yeah,
It's such a beast. Like you see a polar bear eat like a piece of meat and you go, man, don't get me close to that thing.
that's a good choice. I think mine, even though you didn't ask, is the penguin.
The penguin.
Definitely. Yeah,
Mm.
I'm a
I don't know if
penguin
they
guy.
have penguins. That's kind of
If they have
hot.
polar bears, they should have penguins.
Bears are big. I'll tell you that. Bears are
Yeah.
cool. I don't like the gorillas, the monkeys. But anyways, enough about gorillas and monkeys. Let's talk about audio. All right. So we talk about the Grado Quest. We talk about purchasing stuff, good or bad. There's a new contender in digital audio that's been around for years. Tell us
Hmm.
about the Apple lineout.
The Apple line out. Yeah. So I basically discovered by accident. I guess it's been 2 years now that Apple used to sound great, like really great. They used to put a lot of care into the sound of their products and not only their hardware, but also their software. Um, and I know some people don't believe or don't want to believe that software can make a difference to how stuff sounds, but it can. In my opinion, like a 1-to-1 ratio of importance. Um, Essentially, a friend of mine had some spare. I might have told the story on the show before that he has a spare Mac Pro. He knew a guy who ran a very famous studio. He still runs it downtown Toronto. They were clearing out their fleet. They upgraded to the latest model, and they were selling all their old Mac Pros. And so he got it at a great price. He was using it for recording, like he was archiving tape and vinyl and digitizing it. He's like, I don't need this other machine here. You have it. and I bought it. I took it home. It just looked cool. I never had an old Apple product like that before, right? So I couldn't afford them when I was in 2008 or whatever. Um, and I hooked it up. At the time, I was using just a regular, Windows laptop, modern one, as my source, my digital source, and the difference was like huge. It was huge. It was as big as any difference I'd ever heard swapping any sort of component. And that was kind of the beginning of the Apple House sound journey. And since then, I've acquired many more Apple products, some good, some bad. Now, the latest discovery is in the old, uh, not the old iPhone specifically, the old iOS. So I bought an iPhone 4, um, because it supports iOS 4, which I read in some arcane knowledge is supposed to be a very good sounding version of iOS. And it was this whole odyssey to try to get this thing to downgrade to iOS 4, because Apple purposely makes it very, very, very hard to do that. But eventually I got it working. And now that's like my portable source. So I use that to listen to headphones. I use that to, I actually have an iPod dock that I also
Hmm.
bought by accident. That wasn't planned, but I came across like this guy's house. I was there to buy an amplifier, and he's like, "Hey, I have this iPod dock. Do you want it?" And I was like, "Sure." It was $100. So that takes the analog or digital signal out of the iPod. You can use it, or iPhone. You can use it either way. And then the most recent purchase in the Apple lineup, I was looking for a speaker system for my bedroom. I was originally considering doing something really dumb and going on like Craigslist or Kijiji or whatever and buying like a mini component system from the 90s. And then I started seeing the kind of prices that people wanted for them, which are just outrageous. Like these were just
Yeah,
junk, like
especially
consumer
for the
systems.
gear.
Yeah, but they think they're like vintage collectibles or something. They want like 500, $600, and I was like, I'm not paying that.
It was never even
Um,
worth that.
the next strategy was, okay, well, this IEMA stuff is really good. What if I buy another IEMA amp and maybe get some speakers from AliExpress and see what Chinese speakers are all about? Then I started looking. Unfortunately, all the best speaker models that are made in China, there's a lot of them. They don't really ship them overseas, and if they do, the shipping is really expensive. It costs more than the speakers themselves. So I ruled that out. And then the answer finally came, as it usually does, just from browsing classifieds. I opened a Audio Mart one day, and this guy was selling this thing I'd never heard of before called the Apple Hi-Fi, and
Oh, that's
it
right.
turns it turns out to be a product that Apple made in I think 2006. It came out, and they discontinued it very quickly. I don't think it sold well. It's basically a self-contained stereo system. It had a Class D amplifier inside with a DAC, and on the top, an iPod mount. But iPhones also work. And I don't know why it sold so poorly. I guess maybe they didn't market it properly, or it was just too expensive relative to other products at the time. I think it was like 350 US dollars new. So not crazy, but pretty expensive for like a small tabletop speaker. Um, the only thing I needed to know, I didn't like read like any impressions of it or anything like that. I just Googled like Apple Hi-Fi internal photos, and I looked inside and I saw the drivers, like how they were built. They're very high quality drivers. It has a shared woofer. I don't know how large the woofer is, maybe like 5 inches or something. So that's for both channels, and then left and right, it has a small full range driver, and they have really nice magnets. They have nice frames, so I knew that Apple like didn't skimp on this thing. It was $100. I bought it. It came. I plugged the iPhone into it. It sounds amazing. It actually sounds really good, and that's a stereo system for the bedroom now. It's nothing like an audiophile would ever admit to using, but um, I'm rocking it.
Yeah, I'll probably rock the next HomePod when that comes out.
Yeah, I had a HomePod when it came out. I returned it because it sounded very bad. But maybe you can cope with it. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, I'll cope. I'll cope.
I'm actually going to mod this Apple Hi-Fi thing. I'm gonna. It's not designed to be user serviceable, so you have to like ruin it to open it, basically. But I
Of
don't
course.
care. It was $100. I'm gonna open it. I'm gonna replace all the wiring. I'm going to um, see kind of what the damping system is like inside. Maybe replace because I think it's just like gray foam. I might replace that with something more
Some angel
natural.
hair.
Yeah, angel hair or something like that. And
Costs more
uh,
than the product itself.
I'm gonna install super tweeters
Oh, there
on
you
it
go.
too. Yeah,
Tac T super tweeters.
some super tweeters. I
No,
might
no
put
go
some
to super tweeters.
Goto.
Yeah,
No,
Goto. No.
can't afford that. It's too big anyway. Wouldn't fit. Um, and some feet. I might put like some wooden feet under it because it just has like this rubber pad underneath so that it doesn't shake the whole desk because it makes crazy bass from this one driver. There's two bass ports. They really focused on getting the low end right because that's what consumers want, but it's a very good sounding speaker. So basically this whole journey with like the Apple stuff, like the Mac Pro that I'm using as the music source for my main system, that was like basically free. My friend gave it to me. The iPhone 4, which I'm using as kind of the portable music source, that was $30 on eBay, plus plus or minus like 30 hours trying to figure out how to downgrade it, but that worked. And then the Apple Hi-Fi was $100. So basically, like for less than $300, which is like the customs tax I paid on one of those DACs that I bought in August, I now have three sources that sound better than any of them. Um, so that's something I would investigate if you're on a budget, you want something that sounds good. Look at old Apple products. They made millions and millions of them. They're very plentiful.
Yeah, they're popular for a reason.
Yes, for a good reason. And for some reason, it seems that the iPod touches and the iPhones do seem to sound a little bit better than the actual like the classic iPods that everyone talks about because
Yeah,
we had an iPod 5 before. That's like the one that everyone recommends. It was good, but it wasn't that good.
it's too warm for me.
Yeah, the iPhone 4 does not have that issue.
I like the six way more than the five.
Right, the classic 6, yes, I would agree with you.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
those are getting expensive too.
Yeah. Luckily, I got mine for free. So talk about cheap audio.
Yeah.
I have to try an iPhone. I mean, I think people can replace those batteries. Not too bad. So
Yeah, and I mean, like iPods, people still want them, right? Because they
yeah,
play
no one wants
music,
an
but
iPhone
no
four
one
though.
wants an iPhone. No one wants an iPhone 4. People just give them away.
Four?
So
That was 10 models ago.
yeah, Jesus.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so let's. What about goals for the new year? What do you audio wise? Are you looking at anything? I know you said IEMA, but anything else?
Uh, well, I haven't stopped buying CDs. I have too many CDs now.
Mm,
It's the dark truth. I have way too many. There's only one solution, and it's to sell them on
mm,
Discogs in hopes some sucker buys my crappy CDs. Uh,
yeah,
I feel like I've been that sucker a few times, but the
yeah,
times I haven't been, man, I've scored like I've came out like a bandit. Definitely get rid of some CDs that I do not like. I don't need 800 CDs. I don't think I have that many, but you know what I mean. 50 is enough. I mean, come on.
yeah. Um, sorry, was there anything else?
Definitely downsize my music collection a little bit. I think that's. But when it's digital, you can kind of just get rid of it and hope your drives don't explode and you lose the music forever. So I don't know. Get rid of some CDs. I think. Purchase wise, uh, no, I just hate the idea of buying something like spending money. It's like, oh man, is this gonna have a
Okay.
lasting experience for me, or is it just gonna be the high of the purchase? Opening the box. Opening boxes is fun though. I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
But the IEMA box smells very funny. I don't know what it is. It smells like a Chinese factory. So,
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of an old deck you had that would also smell, but that would smell for a
but,
different reason.
oh yeah, let's not get into that. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
I realized that I didn't even talk about the fact that I'm selling all of my analog equipment.
Oh,
Your comment about CDs reminded me. I don't want to get into it because I'll ramble about it forever. But yeah, that's one
let's
of my
go.
goals.
Say a little bit about it.
No, I shouldn't. Next time. We'll save that for next time.
All right.
But that's
Next
one of
time.
my goals for 2023 is to get rid of all the analog equipment, all the tone arms, all the turntables, all the cartridges, and all the records. And that's going to be a
Yeah,
very I have a lot of records. Um, it's going to be a
Difference
time
between
consuming
analog
process.
and digital is when digital goes bad, you just kind of just you can almost just throw it away, especially if it's a CD player. It's like, well, I'm not gonna get another laser, so this thing's junk.
Yeah.
For analog, you can spend years refurbishing all that equipment. Should
And I
tell us all
did.
about that.
I did.
Yeah.
That's for next time. And my other goal for 2023, I guess, I want to keep refining my speakers. There's a bunch of ideas that I have that won't cost money. It'll just need like a lot of time and trial and error. So, um,
Any ideas what those could be?
if I say them, no one will believe me. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, you know
Uh,
what they are, but
oh, okay. Yeah.
yeah,
It's very mysterious. What could it
yeah,
be?
no one will believe me. So
I
I'll keep it
have a
to
few ideas
myself.
what they could be. I'm just gonna throw them out there so you don't have to. I'm assume it's gonna be different varnishes, different lacquers, maybe positioning, maybe playing them even more, maybe different cabling, maybe different capacitor components for the crossover or the wideband or midband, whatever it's called.
Tweeter.
Yeah, the tweeter. Yeah, just maybe more tweeters. I don't know. Maybe 8 super tweeters just strapped up in a line array.
I'll save that for next time too.
All right. So, last but not least, that brings us to our music section. Probably my favorite section. I say that every week because I really do love the music.
Every few months, you mean?
Every few months, yeah, a few weeks, few months. Last episode. Time is relative.
Right.
So, Cena, we're gonna start with you. You know, Give me
Okay.
an album.
My recommendation for this episode is "Paste" by Moin, Moin. They're a UK outfit. I guess experimental rock is what you might call it. But it's not really that far out there. It's pretty easy to listen to. I listen to this in the background while I'm walking around in -3 degrees Celsius weather, or while I'm working at my desk. It has some spoken word elements like Leslie Weiner stuff in there. It's really good. So, Paste by Moin. I recommend it.
Nice. You named everything I like about music.
Okay. Have
It's
you listened to it?
British. It's experimental. No, I haven't yet, but I definitely will with that
Uh,
description.
Okay.
It's kind of funny. I'm thinking to myself, it's like, when don't we recommend British or English music?
Uh,
Yeah,
I don't
I don't
remember
know.
what my last
It's never
recommendation was.
intentional. I don't know. It's not intentional. We swear. Mine is the latest Black Midi album. They are also a British band.
Oh, see, if I knew you were doing that, I would have done something else. But okay, go
Yeah.
ahead.
They're also experimental rock, jazz fusion rock, math rock, prog rock, av- avant prog. I don't know, noise rock. Okay, I don't like these descriptions. That's enough of that. But I really like their latest album, Hellfire. I will go so far to say that to me, I think that is my album of the year. Like I've
Uh-huh.
heard it more than any other album this year. I love it so much, especially for the spoken segments. I love when people just say things in music. I don't know what it is about it. It's just the human voice is powerful, and sometimes the message really gets to us. Uh, you'll find that's definitely if I had a rune playlist, uh, spoken language is definitely a subcategory that I listen to the most.
Do you know about Leslie Weiner?
I do not. Tell me better.
Okay, I'll have to. A very esoteric artist. I think she only had one release, but I might be talking on my ass. I have that. I have her CD. It's very rare. Um, she, I don't know if it's fair to say that she popularized spoken word in music. That's not fair to say. I think that really came out of the French no wave movement of the '80s. But yeah, it's very difficult to describe. I'll have to link it to you later. You'll like it.
All right, and we will include that in the show notes. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the Black Midi album. It's typical Black Midi, very highs, very lows. There's an even flow to it. There's a push and pull, and they kind of just go, in, out. This they kind of just change the whole pace. It feels very live to me. Listening to live music, the pacing changes a lot. It's not just like, all right, we're gonna do it for this take. It's we're doing this together, and they move together, and I really get that from this album.
Speaking of Black Midi, I actually want to give a shout out to a YouTube channel that I don't know if he's active anymore, but he used to do audio reviews. That's the first time I heard about Black Midi. The YouTube channel name is called Stereo Police.
Is
Um,
that a young kid with his dad? That
no,
channel.
no, he's not young. He's an older gentleman. Really nice guy. He just like no pretenses or editing in his videos. He just grabs a camera, paces around his listening room, and just gives you his thoughts on a piece of gear. And he played like Black Midi. This was back when it was their first album come out, 2019. And I was like, "What is that? Like, why is he playing that? Why is he not playing Jazz at the Pawn Shop?" But I
Yeah.
looked it up and I really liked it. So that was my introduction to Black Midi. But Stereo Police, check him out on YouTube. He's a nice guy.
Yep. Well, I think that'll do it all. That'll be it.
Cool.
That's all she wrote for episode 12 of the Good Sound Club podcast.
I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Thank you for listening, and till next time.
Peace.